Hey people, welcome to the channel, and following up super quickly with the previous video about the tariff wars, right? US is imposing 25% tariffs on Canada, 25% tariffs on Mexico, probably it's going to be in Europe as well, 10% for China. Why? Why would you want to start a bloody trade war with everyone? Well, these are the numbers that probably Trump is keeping in mind.
Here is some of the key data on US trade. In 2023, some $3.8 trillion worth of goods were imported into the United States. Mexico, China, and Canada, the three countries President Trump is imposing harsh tariffs on, accounted for around 40% of those goods. On the face of it, tariffs are about tackling trade deficits, with the US importing more goods than it's been exporting.
Right.
The deficit with some of its key partners has been widening, though. In November 24, it operated at a deficit of $5 billion with.
So Trump basically looks at the numbers and says, you know what? We're buying from you more than you buy from us. And that's not cool. I saw Germany there, that it's not on the same level. So we'll see how that goes. Now, you have to keep in mind that it's not just Germany, it's all of the European Union. So, yeah, that has to be calculated more closely. But these would be the three that this is why he went with these three first, because these are the greater, one-sided type of trades that Trump does not like. He feels that people are taking advantage of the United States. Right? We're importing more from you than you are buying from us. Screw that. No, I'm putting a tariff on you because of this. Right? If it's not fair, and in the eyes of Trump, fair is we buy the same from you than you are buying from us. Right? It has to be both sides. If not, tariffs.
With Canada, $15.3 billion with Mexico, and a massive $24.9 billion with China.
Yeah.
Well, earlier I spoke to the acclaimed economist Mohamed El-Erian, president of Queen's College, Cambridge, and formerly chair of President Obama's Global Development Council. And I began by asking him what outcomes he thinks President Trump is aiming for.
I think he wants multiple outcomes. That's why he loves the concept so much. First, he wants to use it as a tool to get other countries to do what he wants them to do.
Right.
Secondly, he thinks of it as a tool to raise lots of revenue. And thirdly, he thinks of it as a tool to promote domestic companies.
So if we break them down a little bit, let's just take domestic manufacturing, for example, and encouraging global companies to relocate production to the US. That could take years.
It could, but it will start a process that will bear fruit for the US for years as well. It also will encourage domestic industries that are already there. It will give them an advantage over imports by making imports either more expensive or less profitable for other countries to send to the US.
But it is a big political risk, isn't it?
I think the problem with this whole thing is that in the short term, it will work.
Right.
The US is relatively strong, both cyclically and structurally. So other countries can resist, but they will not resist for long. The challenge is over the longer term, this is going to encourage other countries to reduce their interactions with the US.
And then we enter this threat of a global trade war.
That's the worry. I think what we really are looking for is a fragmentation of the global system. We're looking at more blocks around the world, more access of convenience. And what we lose is the ability to address common problems collectively.
And there are clearly implications here, potential implications for the Chancellor Rachel Reeves, who has staked her reputation, staked her entire economic plan on growth.
So the good news is that so far, President Trump has not mentioned the UK. My hope, and I have no basis for that hope other than hope, is that the UK has found a way to preempt the threat of tariffs. And there are ways to preempt the threat of tariffs.
How so?
By offering the US better access in a couple of areas where
they already bend over, that's why.
The US has felt discriminated against. Healthcare is one.
Lots of people will read that as privatization of our beloved quote-unquote NHS.
Yeah, it need not go anywhere near the privatization of NHS. But to be clear, we are not in a world of first best or second best. We are in a world that's far away from that. And the question on everybody's mind outside the US is, how do I minimize the damage to an economy that is already struggling?
And a final thought on whether tariffs actually do work as an economic instrument.
If it's a one-off thing, then individual countries and the global economy can accommodate that. If this is what game theorists call the repeated game, it keeps on happening over and over and over again, it will fundamentally change how the global economy operates, to the bad fortune of many countries.
Dr. Al-Arian, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's going to be making a lot of things a lot more expensive. Look, I get it in terms of some tariffs just to protect some local businesses and some, but it's also very risky in terms of we're not letting anything coming from abroad. Everything needs to be bought local. It's going to be more expensive and it's going to suck. It's not going to be of the same quality. I don't need to make it of the same quality because you don't have a choice. That is a fucking dangerous little game to play. Believe me, we've seen it done in other parts before. It usually does not end up working well. Usually, when you look at competition, that's what works the best in terms of the best product for the best price. That's what you get with free market. Free market is great for that. These protectionist markets are not really good for that sort of thing. They're good for benefiting certain companies, certain businesses, certain industries that you may want to look after. But it is a dangerous game to play. Guys, it's going to be all for now. This will have a massive impact on prices, but yeah, get ready. That's it. See you next time.